What's up, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of On the Bluff. I'm your host, Christian Fowler. Joining me, as always, my co-host, Gabe Kuhn.
Wait a second.
Producer, Kenny Stubblefield.
What is this?
What is this? As always, Kenny.
As always.
What is this third box doing over here? I'm so. Wait a second. Who let this?
He said, "As always, Kenny."
Yeah, as always. Business as usual. But he is back. We're glad to have him back.
Yes, I'm glad to be back, man.
Yeah,
I'm glad to be back. Here's the truth of it: a teething baby and a working wife. Usually, it's hard to work. It's hard to work through those things sometimes. I'm glad y'all have been understanding of my situation.
Of course. 2 weeks though, we're glad to have you back. It's been
Christian was doing the Lord's work for 3 weeks before that, taking care of the Lord's taking care of the Lord's chicken.
Yeah, so, it was like I think I had 2 weeks, and then we all came back together for 1 week, and then Gabe for 2 weeks. So
But you know who's been the mainstay? Kenny Stubblefield.
He don't miss.
He never misses.
Never, not
once. Most consistent guy on the channel, brother.
Because I've got nothing else going on. This is it for me.
Since I've been out,
highlight of my week.
Since I've been out, couple of things. One thing brought a tear to my eye. I brought Myers out to the spring game a couple of Saturdays ago. Oh my gosh, man. I didn't think I'd be that emotional, guys.
Full circle moment there.
Tell me about it.
God.
Talk to us about it. Yeah.
It was insane. He had his nice little Memphis polo on. We were watching Brendan Lewis sling the ball around. Arrington Maiden sling the ball around. And he was enjoying himself. Although he did fall asleep about halfway through. But it was pretty it was insane for me, man. I didn't think I'd be that emotional.
Yeah, so no, that's definitely full circle.
Yeah, and then other than that, I had my Mother's Day. I had my mom in town, so she came in for Mother's Day, and then Taylor, of course, her first Mother's Day. That was fun.
That's cool.
It was a good one. It was enjoyable. How y'all take care of moms?
Oh yeah,
this past weekend.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was in.
You probably did a crawfish boil.
No, I did not. I was in Huntsville for a wedding this weekend. Anna Ruth was in one of her best friends from Auburn's wedding. So we left out on Friday morning. She had to be there for like the bridal luncheon and all that stuff. So a lot of downtime with me by myself this weekend while she tended to bridesmaid duties. But nice. Yeah, we were in Huntsville. We were supposed to stay there Friday and Saturday night, but after the wedding, we got in the truck and she was like, "How are you feeling right now?" And I was like, "I'm good." Like, they had a live band. We danced for a few hours.
You boogied on
down?
Yeah.
So I was feeling good. I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine." She was like, "I kind of want to go back tonight." And I was like, "Cool with me. No worries."
Let's say less. Let's go.
So we got back at 2:30 in the morning on Sunday.
Oh. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And then woke up, did Mother's Day with my family, spent some time with my mom, my grandma, and then we had Mother's Day with her family on Sunday night. So we got all the moms, tons of moms,
bunch of moms,
all
over the place.
But it was a busy weekend. That was a quick turnaround trip, wedding, all the stuff that goes with it. But it was a good time. It's one of those things. I know both you guys have been in this position before. Like if your girlfriend, fiance, wife, whatever's in a wedding and you're not, and no one there, and you're kind of like, I'm just here for the ride. Whatever.
I gotta be honest, man. I make sure I'm very social in those situations, depending on who I'm around.
Usually, I'm not. I mean, I'm not closed off, but I'm a small circle guy, and I'm not the best at approaching others. I can talk to anybody, but approaching others not my strong suit. But I give myself a pretty fair grade for this weekend. I think good. I shuttled some bridesmaids around both days for the rehearsal dinner and for the wedding itself and to get ready and stuff. So
you were a good fiance.
Yeah, you're in that mode right now where you're still auditioning. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not auditioning.
Absolutely, you are.
Once you become a husband, you stop all that shuttle around bullshit.
When you become a husband, all that shit goes out the window, bro. But you're
call Uber
right now.
He's basically telling you once you get married, you stop trying.
Yeah, bro. Give all up. That stuff is it is not even give up. You just go. I'm here, baby. I ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, you can't get rid of me.
You still have to worry about the narratives that are out there about you with her friends, right? Like the people.
Yeah, sure.
You gotta audition, bro. You gotta be the doting fiance.
Okay, in that sense.
You want to, when you're the fiance, you want like all the bridesmaids to get home,
100%.
like all of her friends, and be like, that Christian, I really like her.
Yeah,
Anna
no,
Ruth
you're
did
right.
such a good job.
Call Anna Ruth and be like, Anna Ruth, you just did.
He's like an alien.
He's an alien. Like, there's just no other guys like him out there.
That's what you need.
Yeah, that's exactly that's the auditioning I'm talking about. So
okay, I thought you're talking about for her. I was like, okay, I see I'm following now. And
yeah.
You
ain't auditioning for Anna Ruth. Y'all
because later on down the road, you'll piss off those friends more than enough.
Yeah.
You'll be good later.
And you'll be fine with it, and it'll be okay. This weekend was not that one of those weekends.
Yeah.
You had to shuttle and be the doting fiance. So shout out to you, man.
Yeah,
you played your role.
Yeah, no, I think that was the first wedding. Yeah, that was the first wedding I've been to since I've been engaged. And you do kind of look at everything in a different light. Like you're kind of paying attention more to everything and like, oh, I really like that. I don't like that. We can incorporate this. I want to stay away from that. Yeah, so it is. I finally went to a wedding and was like, I am really paying attention to all the details, what everything looks like.
Yeah. Planning
so
yourself. What you want.
It was a different viewpoint at the wedding this weekend, but it was cool.
That's awesome. Our weekend was nothing. We just literally hung around the house all weekend, and it was phenomenal. When it rains, like I know Tracy's in a really good place when it rains on the weekends, and she just sits on the couch and watches Twilight the entire weekend.
Oh, Twilight. Like okay.
Yeah, bro. She can rock out some Twilight. Yeah.
Okay.
She concerned me last night though. I went into the bedroom and she was laying in bed about to go to sleep. And she was watching Gilmore Girls. And I was like, "Are you okay?" Like, yeah, I'm fine. She was
Twilight,
I was like,
though. She enjoys the films and the books. She likes Twilight.
Oh yeah. It's either
Team Jacob or Team Edward.
Oh, Team Edward all day.
Really?
Jacob is a non-factor in this whole story.
Okay.
But no, when I saw her watching Gilmore Girls, I was like, "Are you okay?" Because you might not know this, but you have tells, right? Like when she's in kind of a melancholy like mode of like, I'm like, she's watching Gilmore Girls, and I'm like, "Are you good?" She's like, "I'm fine." I was like, "Okay, you're watching Gilmore Girls. You're freaking me out a little bit. What did I do? Did I do something wrong?" Okay.
Is everything okay? I'm fine.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm fine.
Yeah. It was Sunday night, and I was like, "Did I screw Mother's Day up? Like, is everything okay? Like, are we good?"
Yeah.
But anyway, that was a good weekend though. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers.
Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there.
Yep, absolutely. All right, are we ready to jump into all this Memphis related news that we have?
All of it. Yeah, so much. It's just, I don't even know where to begin.
Where do we start?
Yeah, we're in that point of the season, and I think we're going to talk some more PJ Haggerty like we have the past couple weeks, which is kind of funny because I think last week when we talked about it, me and Kenny were like, "This is probably the last we'll talk about PJ Haggerty unless something else happens," and nothing's really happened of any note. But Kenny brought up a point before the show, so Kenny, I'm gonna roll it out for you.
Yeah,
you talk about it for a second, then we'll discuss.
Are we tired of? Are we getting tired of the roller coaster yet? Like I think there has been this entire offseason the majority of the offseason has been spent going, well, PJ's not in the portal. He's not in the draft. Tigers are good, right? Like if he gets in the portal, then we'll have some conversations and things like that. But it seems clear to us that he's not going. Well, then he decides to enter the portal and enter the draft. He gets invited to the combine. He's working out with different teams. And then the reports start filtering out, right? That Ole Miss and NC State and Texas and all these schools are involved, and Memphis is there, but it's probably going to be one of those Power 5 schools. And then Jeff Goodman comes out and he's like, Ole Miss isn't happening. Memphis is unlikely. It's now NC State, and everybody, NC State fans are coming all up in all of our videos going, freaking out like, we got your guy, that kind of stuff. So shout out to y'all for the clicks and the views. But then this week, like we had this conversation last week, Christian and I had a pretty blunt conversation about, listen, man, like the guaranteed money, the highest guaranteed money that he's been offered so far this year or this offseason has been with Memphis. He'll be laying some money, guaranteed money on the table if he chooses Ole Miss or if he chooses NC State. He's concentrating on the draft. He wants to be in the draft. There's some concern about being guaranteed a draft pick, which we've seen so many different players just get bamboozled by that conversation. And then this week he reposts a video of one of the most iconic quotes I think that that I've ever heard in college basketball. And it's one that he gave this past season with Memphis. And he said, if you take care of the team on the front, the name on the back will ultimately be taken care of at some point. And everybody's like, oh my gosh, he's coming back to Memphis.
Yeah.
Are we tired of this roller coaster yet?
Yes, 100%. Because last week it was reported that Memphis was completely out of this conversation. And here's the thing. I don't think PJ was like reposting that to make it some like I love Memphis thing. I think he was posting it to make himself look good in NBA draft circles and to sort of show that on his social media. But like there's no way he's posting that because he's trying to give context clues to us for us to think he's coming back to the University of Memphis. But also, how ironic is it that that's the thing he posts when in all reality he doesn't have Memphis in mind. You know what I mean? You take care of the team on the front, the team on the back will be taken care of. But you haven't really taken care of the team on the front of your jersey in that clip this offseason. You gave them the runaround. They've tried to put some offers on your plate, supposedly a $3 million offer, which is the highest guaranteed money. And it feels like at every turn, he's used the University of Memphis as leverage to try to get more money out of everybody else. So I found that to be ironic that he reposted that. But where I'm at is like, I think the discussion that's being had about Memphis sort of being out, like that's the latest report out of the PJ Haggerty sweepstakes.
On their own choice.
Yes, and the question is like, is this the right decision or the wrong decision? I have talked myself into this being the fully correct position to be in.
Really?
If you're Penny Hardaway. Obviously, you want a second-team All-American, unanimous type guy, but you filled out that backcourt so much. I feel like PJ Haggerty at this point joining this team would muddy the waters more than I think we're ready for. You know what I mean? And it would cause some drama behind the scenes that we know doesn't jive well with this program and with Penny Hardaway. And I'm much more interested in, I know we're going to talk about in a second, about Dane Danger. If he can get the waiver, I feel like that's just a better fit and better situation for this team. But
100%.
To answer your question, Kenny, I am sick and tired of the roller coaster. This recruitment, I have not seen one followed like this in college basketball since like Hunter Dickinson, man. Like it's been a while since there's just been this runaround for every program involved and so much reporting, so much leaked information. You can never really get a lead and a full understanding of when his decision is going to be made. This one's been annoying and I'm tired of it. I will be honest.
Yeah, I completely agree because after me and Kenny talked last week, like I said, we kind of tried to turn the page on it, and here we are again. And really, my hope was last week, like when it came out, NC State looks like the only team remaining. I was kind of like, I hope he just goes ahead and commits to NC State, and we can fully move on. That it's set in stone. He's going somewhere else. Hopefully, he would commit and sign at the same time, and we'd be done with this. We wouldn't have to have this conversation anymore. But here we are. And what's strange about it, and I think Kenny and I talked about it last week, Gabe, I think you and me talked about it on your show last week. It feels like he's really trying to get this draft thing done. Like that's where he wants to be. That's what he wants to do. And we keep going back and talking about players and the decisions that they're making. And of course, we're an outside source. So, our opinion doesn't really matter that much in the long run. But looking at it from the outside in, it's like, okay, you have an opportunity to make $3 million plus this year, regardless. If you go to Ole Miss, NC State, Memphis, you're probably going to make $2.5 to $3.5 million. If you go to the NBA, you're probably going to be undrafted.
Two-way.
Two-way. You're going to have to go that route and try to make it through the G League to make your way into the league to ever even, get close to making $2.5, $3 million. And odds are like you end up overseas and you do all right, but you're never going to get that payday again. And I know as the media, we say it all the time. It's not all about the money. We love when players play for the love of the game, but at a certain point, like you have to take care of yourself. And that's why we weren't enraged like some Memphis fans were when he initially entered the portal. Because it's like, look, if he can go make more money, if he can make $4 or $5 million this year compared to 2.5, go do it. But now it feels like everything is pointing towards the draft. And it's like, dude, just capitalize on the opportunity that you have in front of you. And that is not the NBA at this time. Like, that will always be there. And I think we had the same discourse with David Jones. We've had the same discourse with multiple players that have played at Memphis. And it's like, look, nothing's going to change from this year to next year when it comes to the draft for PJ Haggerty. Probably positive or negative unless there's an injury or a huge, just he averages 8 points a game, which wouldn't happen.
Right.
So what are you doing? Like, make the money this year and then go to the league and do the same thing that's going to happen this year. You got to have a little bit of patience and do the best thing for you financially, if your outlook is not being an NBA star.
Right. And you know what? Like, if he comes back to college and plays well and shows he can be better on ball and a better shooter, he may be able to improve his draft stock. He may be able to catapult himself to an early second-round pick. But I'm telling you right now, I've watched the kid play. I've watched him, I know what type of player he is. I don't know if he'll ever. In fact, I don't think he'll ever make $3 million for a salary in the National Basketball Association.
No.
He's a great player. He's very fun to watch. He can fill it up, but the shooting and the on-ball acumen, it ain't there. It's just not. And there's some athleticism concerns at his size. He would be doing himself a ridiculous disservice if he didn't pull himself out of the NBA draft. Even if he plays well in 5-on-5s, he could catapult himself maybe to, late to mid second round. Even with that, you're doing yourself a disservice by going into the NBA draft. He needs to go to NC State. That's what he needs to do.
Yeah.
And take that Will Wade money and run with it.
Let me ask you this though. The question is Memphis has willfully took themselves. They removed the offer, that $3 million offer that's been reported everywhere that they offered him initially. But I have it on good authority though that they would be they could be enticed to get back into the fold.
No
sure,
doubt,
I bet.
So I guess my question to you is you talked about, Gabe, you were talking about a few minutes ago about, moving on because of the potential for drama in the locker room. Is there a single, and listen, the guys that they've brought in could be phenomenal basketball players for the University of Memphis, but we've never seen them play for the University of Memphis.
Right.
Is there a single player that you look at that you would go, man, we would love to get back into the PJ Haggerty situation, but yet it could potentially entice this dude to leave? Like, I don't feel like
Parker for sure, and Doug McDaniel, I think, would both be perturbed by it.
Yeah,
right?
But I see what Kenny's saying. No, there's not a player that's currently on this roster or committed that you would say I'd take him over PJ. But
that's what you meant.
But to what Gabe's point was a minute ago, and I think we had a good discussion about this last week, Gabe. Is it worth what can happen in the locker room? And to me, that's the bigger question. It's not would you take any of these guys over PJ, because you wouldn't. He would be the best player on the team if he was on Memphis's roster right now, no doubt. But do you really want to cause issues in the locker room? Because it is a problem that we've seen over and over and over again at Memphis, and it has ruined very talented teams at Memphis because of whatever the drama may be. And is it, even if you said no one leaves and everybody stays, maybe one player leaves, say Sincere Parker leaves or something like that. Is it worth what everybody else in that locker room thinks afterwards? Because now it's like, look, we've had these promises made to us both monetarily and role-wise, and now somebody that chose to leave this program is coming back, taking our minutes, taking our shots, and now we won't have that opportunity to showcase our talent.
And Penny has to answer for that too.
Exactly, and that falls back on the coaching staff. And so I just – you can say, yeah, PJ being on this roster is a big upgrade. He's the best player on the team. But is it really better for the team? Is it the team going to be better next year with PJ Haggerty on it? Not because of his skill set, but because of what happens in the locker room. We've seen a lot of – Go ahead.
No, I apologize. I just think it's a lot of trouble, man. I think it's a lot of trouble you could run into. And I know what Kenny's going to say. Kenny will probably be on the other side of this thing. I don't know. But It's just so much trouble. And I get how good of a player he is, but like also there's some drawbacks to his game. And I personally think this, and some people may push back on this. I think there's a limit to exactly what you can accomplish if PJ Haggerty is your number one. To me, he's kind of the guard version of Hunter Dickinson in the fact that he can put up some big numbers, but it never looks pretty as hell. And he's sort of getting to the free throw line, doing it in the paint. Not much of a shooter. On the defensive end, how much is he really giving you? But if he's not going and the rest of your team isn't filled out the correct way, how good is your team going to be that day? We saw that against Colorado State in the first round of the NCAA tournament. So I don't know. I have talked myself fully into be out. Be completely out. It's not worth the trouble.
I just think, honestly, what it sounds like to me is you've talked yourself into it. And so because of that, you're able to like then talk about PJ's game the way that you are.
Yes.
If you can get PJ Haggerty back on the squad, I don't care who leaves. Like, I don't care if sincere, like whatever, they're better with PJ Haggerty on this team if they can get him. That's my thought process.
Okay.
But I am ready for the roller coaster to be over. I think it's time. I'm ready for there to be a decision made, right? Just make the decision.
You're
and move
correct when you tell me that I've gotten over it. I've gotten to the point where I'm dealing with this set of circumstances that I know exist.
Right.
And I just don't want to go revert back to the old way. I've gotten used to these set of circumstances. And I like these set of circumstances.
Yeah.
I think they're solid. They're solid, especially if Dane Danger gets that waiver. So I've just gotten to the point where he's used them as leverage at every turn.
Yeah.
He got into the portal late. He made the situation cloudier and muddier than it needed to be for the University of Memphis because of that decision to get in late. And there's been this in and out sort of up and down thing he's doing with the University of Memphis, even though ultimately I think he was going to end up at NC State no matter which way it shook out. Yeah. So I'm just done with it personally. That's why I've convinced myself it's the correct decision.
All right. Well, let's
do this real quick. This is not a part of what we talked about earlier, but I want to talk about this. It was announced this week, Louisville and Memphis are renewing their rivalry, man. What are y'all's thoughts on it's a 6-year home and away. They're starting this year in the is it the Yum Center, the KFC Yum Center in Louisville, renewing of a rivalry, man. I had a conversation with my dad about this, and I said, hey, man, you're an old dude, and you love Memphis basketball. What are your thoughts about this? And he said, I hate Louisville more than I hate any other team that Memphis has ever played. And so for a lot of these old school dudes, this is like, hell yeah. Like this renewed rivalry. Penny is showing that he is absolutely unafraid to play anybody.
Well, and he's also showing that considering how far this brand, the University of Memphis, has fallen as a basketball program, the brand itself, he's showing that you wouldn't be able to get these things scheduled without him personally. Right. That's how 100%. I feel. He lifts up the brand so damn large that, you can renew this type of rivalry. 6 years. I love the fact Louisville with Pat Kelsey last year, top 25 team. We're seated a little low, but that's a different discussion for a different day because they were knocked out early. They could be a top 10 team by the time you play them at their place next year. And, it always brings me back to this too. University of Tennessee and Rick Barnes, get over your damn self, man. Louisville, who's won multiple national titles, they don't feel like they're too good to renew this rivalry. The old one, the Missouri Valley and the Metro and the CUSA and early America, they're not too good for it. They've won multiple national titles. Yeah. Brother, you haven't been to a Final Four. Get over your damn self. Schedule the series because everybody in this entire state wants it. Whether Tennessee fans want to admit it or not, they would love to play that game. I don't give a damn. The bragging rights on that, beautiful. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's definitely good for the program. And Gabe made the best point you can possibly make with this. Like without Penny Hardaway, these kind of things don't happen. It's weird to say because everybody still, around here still views Memphis very highly, but it's just the sad truth of the matter that without him, these kind of things don't happen. So I don't really have any like Memphis-Louisville connection, so it doesn't do anything for me personally, but I understand the history of it. And I understand, like Kenny said, if you're older, you've been around, you've watched Memphis basketball forever, then you understand it. And this could be right up there with Tennessee for most people that have been long time Memphis basketball fans.
The other part of it is Louisville and Memphis as universities, so unbelievably similar.
Yeah.
Obviously, Louisville made the investment in football before Memphis did and was able to get themselves the ACC and do all that good stuff. But Louisville, mid-sized city, just like Memphis, workman-like city where you don't have a bunch of rich folks living downtown, that type of thing. People are passionate about the university that's there in Louisville, just like they are in Memphis. And I think that it's like those markets are very interesting because they are decent-sized metropolitan cities that still have this thirst for college basketball.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't necessarily exist throughout the rest of the country. So I love the parallels. I never got to do the Louisville-Memphis thing, but I love the parallels in the history between these two programs.
Yeah, for sure. All right, we got one last topic, and we'll go through this one pretty quickly and get to the hot three because we got a loaded one for you guys today. But last one, Curtis Givens III visiting. What do we think? How do we feel about this? We just talked about the backcourt, adding guys to it. Do we feel like this would be a good addition? Not necessary. I know he's a Memphis kid, so where do we stand?
Am I going to say it? Not necessary at all. Just not. If he would have come out of high school and stayed here, cool. Like he had a chance to do that last year, just to be clear. But we've seen a year of him playing. And no offense to Curtis or his dad or anybody else, he really struggled as a true. He really struggled. Four points per game, 1 rebound, 1 assist, got the minutes, but he was 26% from the field and 24% from three. Now he can improve, but I don't know if Memphis is going to have the ability to give him minutes or force him into a rotation. So I think if you're going to give out scholarships and you're trying to find people late in the portal, go get bigs. Go find some bigs. You can never have enough wings either. If you want to find some more wings, go for it. But anybody under 6'8" at this point, I'm kind of anti because I think you need to fill out this roster better. You have so many pieces in the backcourt. Adding Curtis Givens III isn't necessary at all.
Yeah, I don't have much more to add to that. I mean, if the only thing that people would be like, "Oh, cool," is because it's a Memphis kid and people know the name. And could he develop? Of course, but like Gabe is saying, with the backcourt that Penny and the staff have assembled, I don't see the minutes here. And if you do develop, we probably wouldn't see it at Memphis. It would probably end up being somewhere else, with this day and age. So is it really a necessary addition when scholarships can go to players that can help right now?
I'm being a good guy in this whole thing. I don't want to see a Memphis kid ride the pine in Memphis. I don't want to see that. So go find another landing spot where you can help somebody in the backcourt.
I will say this. I have a feeling that if Curtis Givens III comes on his visit and he commits to Memphis and it's an accepted commit, like Penny brings him onto the roster, you can wave goodbye to PJ Haggerty. That ship has sailed, right? I think
that seems like a straw that's breaking the camel's back.
Yeah, I agree.
That can't be the swaying point.
No, I'm just saying it just tells
got Curtis Givens.
No, it just tells you all you need to know about. Why would you, if you have 2 roster spots left, which is what Penny Hardaway is working with, 3 if Dane doesn't get his waiver, then you would absolutely, it looks like with the roster that they've got together, you would need to add some bigs to the equation, right? And so if you're adding a Curtis Givens III, a 6'3" guard who, is relatively limited in terms of his skill set, then I think you're just basically saying we're going to go with the guards that we have, and we're not going to add another.
I know what you mean.
Guard and PJ Haggerty back to the equation.
Yeah,
but not saying that people go, I'm not coming back because Curtis Givens III is at Memphis.
Yeah. By the way, quick soapbox moment before we get to the hot three. NCAA, give Dane Danger his damn waiver.
What are we talking about?
Damn waiver. It's ridiculous, man. Chad Baker-Mazara has been in college for 7 years. Trayvon Mark went to 3 different schools in 6 years. You have Malik Thomas with San Francisco getting was it 5th or 6th year, Kenny?
6th year.
Similar situation too, where he ended up leaving a school, going to San Fran.
Played more games.
Played 9 games instead of 3.
9 games instead of 3.
If you're gonna really hold hold Dane Danger's feet to the fire for having some type of academic issue and then leaving mid-season, when he was at Baylor. Like, just get over yourself, man. Can we get the hell out of here? Let this guy play his 4 years. Let him play his 4 years. It's kind of ridiculous that this discussion's even being had when you look around the rest of the country and how many guys are 25, 26, 27 freaking years old, still playing college football and college basketball.
Trayvon Mark is the one that did it for me. When I saw that he beat Memphis his freshman year at Houston on that buzzer beater in Houston in their arena, the Fertitta Center. And then now he's played for Arkansas for 2 years, and then he'll play for Texas for 2 years after playing for Houston for 3 years. For 3 years.
2 or 3.
He's got basically.
I think he had 1 year at Arkansas, so I think that's where we're.
Was it 1 year at Arkansas? Okay,
yeah, so 2 years Houston or 3 years Houston, 1 year Arkansas, 1 year Texas.
And he's going to get another year. Like, how does Trayvon Mark get another year of college eligibility and Dane Danger is still a question mark? Like, that makes no sense to me.
It's so dumb, and it's so selective, and it's archaic. I'm sick of it. I'm very annoyed with it.
Agreed. All right, well, let's take a quick break, and we'll be back on the other side with the Hot 3.
If the NBA had a redraft and Jaren Jackson Jr. and Desmond Bane were in those redrafts, Jaren Jackson Jr. would get picked 29 teams out of 30. So why are we the team that would choose it different? Now, there are admitted problems that I say are problems with Jaren and John, right? I think Desmond Bane is a tremendous player. I think he's a really good player. When I look at Desmond Bane, right, I say, okay, what Desmond Bane is now at 25, 26, he's going to be that exact dude. Like, that's who he is. Like, that's all I'm not going to say all. That's what he's going to be. Do I think that Jaren is a dog, so to speak? No, but I think he's an extremely talented player whose game clearly has a runway to it. There are clearly other things you can add to what Jaren can do, right? Offensively and defensively, I think that Jaren has not been capitalized. I think that there is a coach out there who can figure out how can I make that dude and John Morant look great together at the same time.
Tune in to The Anthony Sane Show, Wednesdays and Fridays at 12 p.m. weekly on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
What do you think the Kings? The Kings are in a very interesting situation because they've already got weird. I see you, Edward. Yeah, I'm with that. Yep.
Yeah. I think Domantas Sabonis is going to command so much from a team that needs rebounding, the Memphis Grizzlies. And you can get some picks and some young players from the Memphis Grizzlies to reboot this team and make them younger and play better for the Memphis Grizzlies. And it's time to reboot, hit reset, and trade Domantas Sabonis to the Memphis Grizzlies.
I'm with you. I don't know what's bigger than a reboot, like a nuclear explode. Like, I think they need to go back to the drawing board, which is really unfortunate. So close after Light the Beam, and a big way to reboot would be to, I don't know, trade Sabonis and Keegan Murray to the Memphis Grizzlies, like you said.
Perfect. Catching the vision.
Tune in to The Daily Grind with your host, Luke Hatmaker, every Monday through Friday at 7:30 a.m. live on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Hey, let's go. We're back. It is the Hot 3. You boys ready? We got a jam-packed Hot 3, so I don't even think any of us were expecting to spend that much time on the Tigers, but let's get to the Hot 3. You guys ready?
Yes, sir.
All right. It was announced, Derek Carr announced this week that he is retiring from the NFL. New Orleans Saints quarterback there's reports out that he was having some shoulder stuff, and people were going, yeah, I don't know what's going on with him. We owe him a lot of money. Is he going to play or not? Turns out his shoulder is jacked up, and so he retired. What do we make of Derek Carr, right? Like, the dude's a moneymaker. He makes money. But is that about it for him? Like, what's his legacy, I guess?
He may not be remembered by the casual NFL fan for much longer now that he's retired. But one Gabe Kuhn will always remember Derek Carr. I'll remember the good times, brother. 11 seasons, 4 Pro Bowls, 257 touchdowns, 41,000 passing yards, top 25 all time. Third place. I remember 2016. He got hurt before the playoffs, but you know what? He was third in MVP voting. He's a Raiders. I hesitate to say legend, but he's first in a lot of categories at quarterback. He had 35,200 passing yards. That's first. 217 total touchdowns. That's first among quarterbacks in the Raiders organization. 3 Pro Bowls there, you know. But I think what I'm going to remember him for the most is he had 1 playoff game. He lost that playoff game. He's 0-1 lifetime in 11 seasons in the playoffs. And he made $205 million. That is great. Check that. Phenomenal. Sensational. Superb work.
I'd take it. I'd take it. Yeah, I'm sitting here looking at his contracts throughout his career. He signed 4-year, $150 with the Saints with $100 million guaranteed. Obviously, some of that will be different just because of him retiring early. I think it was like $30 million that he was missing out on or something like that. Still, no biggie. His third contract in Oakland was $65 million guaranteed, 3-year, $121 million. His initial extension from his rookie contract was 5-year, $125 million with $70 million guaranteed. And then his rookie deal was 4-year, $5 million with $3 million guaranteed. So not bad. If you told me I had an up and down, unmemorable for the most part career where I made a few Pro Bowls and made well over $200 million, taking that. I'm taking.
He is who we think Kirk Cousins is. He really is who we think Kirk Cousins is. Yes. Kirk has more. Like Kirk actually has a couple of playoff wins. Kirk's been to the playoffs more than once and played more than 1 playoff game.
Yeah.
You know, people talk about him being overpaid and a bag getter. Well, he accomplished more in meaningful situations than Derek Carr ever did. Yet he catches a lot of the flack that Derek Carr never really did throughout his career.
No.
Derek Carr got a pass most of the time.
Yeah. And I'll say it about Derek Carr, like he's a talented quarterback. Like you'll see him make some ridiculous throws, but he just never had a full team to really work with. So is what it is. Like we said, he made a lot of money, so I don't think he's too upset about it. But this is really good for the Saints. I mean, it helped them out a lot. It got the biggest contract they had off the book. So they can officially, they don't have to be in this weird limbo period anymore with, you know, do we turn it over to youth or do we let Derek Carr play like they probably would have if he would have been healthy this year? Now they can kind of just turn the page. Kellen Moore in his first year as head coach with a really not good team overall. I mean, it'll be probably.
Look at that quarterback. Is that the worst quarterback room in the NFL now?
Yeah, Spencer Rattler.
Who was a second-round pick. Spencer Rattler, 5th-round pick 2 years ago. Then 3 years ago, they took Jake Hayner in the 4th round, I believe.
Yeah.
Something like that. So that's got to be the worst quarterback room in the league.
It's bad.
And I don't think Jake Hayner and Spencer Rattler are going to get a lot of love because now you had Tyler Shuck taken at 40th overall in the 2nd round when Kellen Moore had already taken over. So you know he's going to get those, you know, the benefit of the doubt, the political reps, first-team reps in camp.
The coach that drafted him.
Tyler Shuck. Tyler Shuck.
I have a proposal for you. We're gonna have a phone call right now. All right. Who wants to play who's the Saints GM? What's his?
Gabe can be Mickey Loomis.
Mickey Loomis. Okay, I'll be him.
So you're in the office tomorrow. Okay. Tomorrow morning.
Is there a ring?
Ring.
I let it ring a couple of times, so I don't want to seem desperate. You know.
Ring.
Right before you think it's gonna get to voicemail, keep going.
Ring.
Hey, Mickey Loomis, GM of the New Orleans Saints.
Hey, this is and I don't know his name, but the GM for the Cleveland Browns. Brother.
Oh, how are you, Andrew Berry?
Thank you, Andrew Berry. My name's Andrew Berry. Thank you. We got 17,000 quarterbacks on our roster. One of them is a guy named Joe Flacco. Would you like him? You want to take Joe Flacco to secure your to actually give you a holdover?
Click.
No, Joe Flacco.
No, whatever the ringtone, whatever.
You're thinking wrong. It wouldn't. If the Saints were to get a call, it's not going to be from Andrew Berry because they want Joe Flacco to start the beginning of the year.
Yes,
it would come from Arthur Blank in Atlanta trying to get rid of him.
You want to do that
better-
call? Kirk Cousins?
the better Derek Carr and Kirk Cousins.
Oh, you think Kirk
God,
Cousins?
can I just say this though, Saints? Don't do that. Just
Don't
start
do it.
over. Start over.
Just
Take
youth
your ass
movement.
off.
youth
Take
movement.
Arch Manning at the top of the draft next year. Garrett Nussmeier from in-state. Do something like that.
Cade Klubnik,
just
one of
be
those guys.
horrible.
Yeah.
Use your first round pick next year on a quarterback. Move forward with your life.
Okay.
Yeah.
What sucks though is they had the 9th overall pick and they didn't even field a thought for like Jackson Dart.
Yeah.
Didn't even
Or try
give
to
that-
trade back.
they knew Derek Carr had something going on that
Yes.
would maybe lead him this way. I'm sure they had an idea he was going to retire.
Yeah.
And Tyler Shuck was their only plan. Okay. I know it's a bad quarterback draft, but Tyler Shuck you reached for. So
Yeah.
whatever.
All right.
Let's go to topic number 2. Is this the most fun NBA playoffs that y'all have seen in a very long time?
I say so.
yeah.
Best second round start to the second round I've ever seen in
Yeah.
my lifetime. I'm not. I don't think I'm being ridiculous with that. We had 3 nights in a row to start the second round with 20-point comebacks.
Yep.
Right.
We had 2 buzzer beaters in 3 nights. Tyrese Halliburton and then obviously Aaron Gordon with the OT sending him to OT. The Nuggets.
Right.
I mean that's a hell of a series. Nuggets and Thunder.
Celtics.
Seeing the Cavs a 64 win team, and also 64 win team and a 60 win team, in the Cavs and the Celtics. First time ever that both those teams lost game 1 at home. If you've won 60 games, I mean that's insane. I think the storylines are great in general. Jalen Brunson's greatness in the clutch, Aaron Gordon's greatness in the clutch. Watching Anthony Edwards sort of get his lumps, but then respond. That's been fun to see.
Yep.
Tyrese Halliburton becoming like a certified clutch playoff star,
Starting to really become a
household name right in front of our eyes. Like I have very much enjoyed the second round. First round was not great.
No.
Second round has been phenomenal. Phenomenal.
Which series are y'all looking at the most going, this is the one I really want to watch? It feels like Indiana Cleveland was that series, but
It's over.
it's kind of over with
Too many
Donovan
injuries. Too many
and
injuries.
all the injuries that Cleveland is facing off. To me, it feels like
Nuggets Thunder.
you've got a historically good regular season team in the Oklahoma City Thunder who could, if they get past this round, will probably go to the NBA Finals, and they're very strong favorites to win the whole thing. Going up against the number one, the best player in the entire world, in Nikola Jokic, with a team that has seen everything, right? Like they've been involved in and they've won finals together. They've played it. There's nothing on the court they haven't seen in the NBA in the playoffs. And this series is tied at 2-2. And what's been crazy about it is home teams have lost all the games, right?
Yeah.
So it's
Same thing for Knicks Celtics.
So
They flipped off. They switched off.
That's right.
It was 1-1.
Oh, that's
home
right.
away.
That's right.
Knicks Celtics is the series where a home team has
That's
not
right.
won
That's
yet.
right. Yep, you're right.
Yeah, but no, that's the series, man. For me, that I'm locked in on.
Yeah, it has to be.
Any given game though, like the way that the Oklahoma City Thunder have played Nikola Jokic, just throwing a bunch of different looks at him every time down the floor. He's
Beating him
shooting the last 3 games. He's shooting 33% from the field,
Yeah, it's tough.
18% from 3, and he's got 15 assists to 16 turnovers. This is one of the worst 3-game stretches I've ever seen from him, regular season or playoffs. If they keep playing him that way, like, you're liable to potentially get a blowout for the Thunder. But at the same time, it's hard to hold him down for an extended period of time.
Right.
So when's he going to break back out and have like a game like he did in game 1, 46, 22, and 6,
Right.
Yeah.
or whatever it is. So I just love the back and forth there because you have playoff experience versus no playoff experience, and then MVP versus other MVP and SGA and Nikola Jokic going back and forth.
Yeah, it just, to me, and I could be totally wrong because I would never doubt Jokic, but it kind of feels like that team as a whole is kind of running out of gas. Like watching the game on was it Sunday?
Yeah. It was
Yeah. Watching the game yesterday, it was just like they just feel kind of beat up. I mean, you got to think they played a 7-game, very competitive series with the Clippers. They're a much older team than the Thunder. And like you said, Gabe, they've kind of been beating up on Nikola Jokic, and he's looked a little bit labored. So once again, it could flip quickly because it feels like both of those teams know how to beat the other team and blow the other team out. But I don't know if they can overcome the youth and just the overall energy of that Thunder team.
I've learned though to just not doubt the Nuggets, because even in that opening series against the Clippers, they lost games 2 and 3. We're down 2-1. Michael Porter Jr. had been awful. Jamal Murray was running around. It looked like his ankle hurt. Nikola Jokic was labored. Like, everybody looked like they were. Christian Brown was dealing with something. Russ was dealing with something. And they came back and won that damn series. So, like, I thought after game 3 of the first round, they were cooked. And they proved me wrong. So I just can't. With Nikola Jokic, with a team that has that much playoff experience, who's won a championship in recent years, it's just hard for me to, like, shut the door and say, well, I think this is the end of the line. They look beat up, because I thought they looked beat up when they got into the playoffs. They don't even have a head coach. Nikola Jokic is coaching, for God's sakes. David Edelman, is he doing anything out there? I don't see it. He takes timeouts and just hands the board to Jokic and says, go.
Yeah. What do we hope happens in the Eastern Conference?
Oh, that's a good question. Pacers, I want to see get through. And then, Knicks Celtics is a fun series. And obviously it's going on right now while we record. So I do want to let people know that it is 83-78 with 3 minutes left in the third quarter. Celtics are up. I think the Celtics will win this series, especially if they win tonight's game. But obviously I think I would want the Knicks to get through to make it, that level of parity. I don't know if the NBA – well, actually, the NBA would probably invite that, right? They would love New York to get through to an Eastern Conference Finals. Yeah. That would be huge for them.
Knicks Pacers would be a fun Eastern Conference Finals.
Well, they would want ideally this series being played right now to be the Eastern Conference Finals. Knicks Boston.
Right. No, 100%. Yeah, 100%. But even though like Indiana doesn't have the history of those two teams, the Celtics and the Knicks, like they are a very beloved team. Like they've had some really good teams and some really good years, and then you kind of throw it back with that old rivalry, the Reggie Miller, the choke, and Spike Lee, and that'd be a lot of fun because we know he's still on the sidelines for every game, so it'd be a good callback, and I'm sure Reggie Miller would be in the building for some of those games.
He would be calling the game, for God's sake.
He'd be calling some of those games, so we'd hear that 100 times, but it'd be a super cool storyline because like we talked about at the top of this segment, the Cavs are just too beat up. I mean, they missed Evan Mobley, DeAndre Hunter, Darius Garland. Now Donovan Mitchell is dealing with something, and it's just like they might, this is probably one that would have gone to 7 anyway because it's tightly matched, but terrible injury luck from the Cavs, and then the Pacers have just capitalized and they're clicking at the right time.
And Ty Jerome, all of a sudden, he was second and sixth man of the year voting. He blows. He's been horrible, bro. He has been the worst player on the floor for the Cavs. It's getting actual minutes.
Yeah.
I think he's shooting something like 13% from the field since this series began.
Yeah, it's rough.
Oh my God. And he's getting just eviscerated on the defensive end.
Yeah, I think what's exciting, this Eastern Conference has been a little bit more exciting to me. I mean, obviously the Thunder Nuggets is a great series. I do think the Timberwolves, they play tonight at 9 p.m. I think with Steph being out, I just don't see
it's who cares.
Yeah, like I just think the Timberwolves. The problem is the Timberwolves are so schizophrenic, bro.
Yes.
Like they are just. I have zero faith in the Minnesota Timberwolves.
I don't either.
Like I think Anthony Edwards is
even without Steph.
No,
I think moving forward.
Like I think.
Oh, okay. Like in the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah.
I mean, you got Draymond, who's screaming about being the agenda against him and him freaking out.
He called himself the angry black man.
So wild.
No one thinks that about you, bro.
No, everybody does. Everybody does, and it's rightfully so.
No, we don't think that. We don't think you're an angry black man. We think you're a dirty ass basketball player.
There you go.
That's a better about you.
That's a better.
Like, come on. Like, what the hell are you talking about?
The agenda. I'm like, brother, you are wild, man.
They are almost impossible to watch without Steph Curry on the floor.
Yes.
Like you didn't enjoy Jimmy Butler's 33 and Kuminga's 30?
No. because
no one else did shit. Everybody else just can't do anything on offense.
There's not a team that is more geared towards one player propping them up. Like the amount of spacing that he creates just with his movement and his 3-point shooting is ridiculous.
It's the gravity. It's the gravity, man.
Yeah.
Jimmy Butler can only do so much. Like the problem with relying on Jimmy Butler as opposed to Steph Curry is Jimmy Butler, at the 3-point line, I can take a step off this guy.
Right.
When he's handling the ball, once he gets past half court, I can wait till he gets to me.
Yeah.
Steph Curry is different than anybody in the history of the game because it's like as soon as he places his foot across half court,
you
have to be within a foot of him.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like and you have to blitz him, you have to throw double teams at him, you have to switch up the looks. You have to decide how you're going to play the high pick and roll. Like, at least with Jimmy Butler, I know, hey, he's going to try to find his spot in the mid-range, try to get to the rim. That's what he's going to do. Steph Curry can do all of it and then just hit a fadeaway 3 in your face as time expires.
Yeah.
And you can't do shit about it.
Yeah.
But the crazy part is the Wolves they're not, I mean, yeah, they're up 2-1 and will probably be up 3-1 after tonight. But it's not like the games are like blowouts, right? They beat 117-93 in game number 3 or game 2.
Yeah.
But even this 102-97 game, it's like, man, y'all just beat them because they didn't have Steph Curry out there, right?
100%.
And so moving forward, the Thunder, whoever wins the Thunder Nuggets series will absolutely, I think, be in the NBA Finals. The Eastern Conference is unique because it could legitimately be any of those 3 teams that we've talked about, right?
If the Celtics make it through, I'm picking the Celtics.
Well, guess who's storming back?
Yes,
the Knicks, of course.
The Knicks are coming back.
And the Celtics, did they give I think it was a 15-point lead or 16-point lead. So they did not quite a 20-point lead they're blowing this time.
It's 83-81.
You know what, man? Their style pisses me off.
It pisses me off too. I hate it.
At the same time, like Joe Mazzulla, sometimes when you get into the fourth quarter and you guys are shooting 15 for 60 from 3,
just go to the basket.
Pull your team aside when it's a tie game and say, you know what, guys, I don't think we're gonna make them tonight. I don't think we're making them. Jason, Jalen, just get to the rim, get to a mid-range, take a step inside the 3-point line, shoot it.
In the first 2 games of this series, they shot 100 3-pointers,
25 for 100,
25.
Well, the bad part tonight, and then we'll move on. But they're shooting 44% from 3 right now, and it was 50%
at half though.
Yeah.
So they probably went cold in the third quarter.
Yeah.
All right. Just live and die off the 3, and I hate that. I hate the way Boston plays ball.
See, I
really do.
Back to the original thing, and then we'll move on. You asked me how good these playoffs are, and they're great. They're compelling. They've been close games. But I will say, there's something to be said about the style not being very fun to watch game in, game out. Yeah. Especially when you watch the Boston Celtics. Just like 63s. Come on, man. That's too much.
All right. This is the topic that we usually don't spend a whole lot of time prior to the show, like, diving deep into topics, but this one pissed me off. And I texted you guys about it and was cussing and all this kind of nonsense. But, dude, the draft lottery was tonight. How rigged is the NBA? Jesus Christ. The Dallas Mavericks have a 1.8% chance of getting the number 1 pick in the NBA draft lottery. And somehow they get it. And alongside them, the San Antonio Spurs get picked. They get the number 2 pick in the draft. After having, was this Adam Silver shouting out the Dallas Mavericks saying thank you for extending the franchise of the Los Angeles Lakers by trading away Luka Doncic for a bag of Doritos?
Well, I think that here's your number 1 pick. That bag of Doritos too.
Here's your number 1 pick in Cooper Flag.
I think this is further, I think this is further punishment for John Morant doing gun gestures. That's what I think. The worst thing that could have happened for the Grizzlies is the two teams in their division, Spurs getting the 2nd overall pick with Wemby and Fox and Stephon Castle winning Rookie of the Year.
Do you know what
now
the
you have a 2nd overall pick?
No, do you know what the rumor is?
Now you have Anthony Davis, and when Kyrie gets back, and Klay Thompson with Cooper Flag as the number 1 overall pick. Yeah. Damn, brother. And I get I don't even know. I've long thought that certain NBA draft lotteries are rigged. I don't think everyone's rigged.
Cleveland,
Because
LeBron.
no one gives a shit where Anthony Bennett goes. You know what I mean?
Right.
No one cares. But when
Cleveland,
there's big
LeBron.
names, they always end up where they're supposed to end up.
Yeah. Derrick Rose.
LeBron with Cleveland.
Derrick Rose, Chicago.
Derrick Rose, Chicago.
Patrick Ewing.
Patrick Ewing, New York.
Yeah.
Victor Wembanyama. The French connection with Tony Parker and Boris Diaw in San Antonio. This one where it's like there's one team that can actually make noise, some headway, and it has star power that's in the lottery, and that's the Mavs.
They just traded away their best player.
and they just traded away their best player, and you were wondering why they did that. They did it for nothing. You know,
Yeah.
they basically just gave away Anthony Davis. That's it. This felt like a little bit. I mean, yes, this is still a conspiracy theory, but at the same time, it's hard to not subscribe to. Okay,
What's
let's make
going
the
on
Lakers good for the next 10 years. And also, if you
Let's
do
make
that
Dallas.
for us, Adam Silver saying, Nico, if you do that for us, we'll
We
give you the
got
first
you.
pick. You got Cooper.
What I hate about it, like not on the conspiracy side of things, but just in the reality of it, is I hate that it potentially bails out Nico Harrison for making one of the worst trades in the history,
He
if
doesn't
not the
deserve
worst.
it.
No, not at all. Like, I don't necessarily love when the number one pick goes like a terrible team. Like, it wouldn't have been as fun watching Cooper Flag play for the Wizards or
for the
something like
Wizards?
that. Yeah,
for the Hornets.
Hornets,
Jazz?
The Jazz.
yeah, or the Jazz. But
You'd been
like,
perfect for the Jazz. Come
Yeah.
on, dude.
but at the same
A
time,
shaggy-haired white guy to go with
Yeah.
all those white folks in Utah? That would have been great.
But at the same time, it's like, dude, this guy is one of the most maligned sports figures currently that we have in Nico Harrison. And for him to be able to get the number one pick and get Cooper Flag, it's just like, ugh, are you serious? Because you know, he's just sitting in his office right now,
Going.
hard as a diamond in an ice storm. I mean, he is so happy for the way that
He's
this
ready to
played out.
shit on the media. at
Oh,
every
dude,
turn
he
next
he
year.
is ready. He is ready to double bird everybody. And we're talking about a guy that wouldn't even speak to the media a month ago and had to hold a private press conference where he wouldn't even allow the media to record it. And now he's just going to be at the mountaintop, just fired up. And I can't stand that. It just it pisses me off that's how it shook out for them. Like if he would have went to San Antonio, it'd been like, I think what did they have, like a 2% or 2.6%?
They had a 3%. I think 3%.
3%. It would have been some BS too, but it'd been like, all right, Cooper Flag and Wemby, like that's pretty cool. Like
That was the scariest spot he could have landed.
100%. It was like they will dominate the league for quite some time. But the Mavericks, really?
I think
But
this
I
is
mean,
a
okay.
basketball atheist, man. I think I'm a
Can I-
basketball. The basketball gods don't exist. The basketball gods would have, this would
His
have
name
been,
is Adam
this would have been-
Silver. His
This
name
would
is
have been
Adam
shot
Silver.
down. If the basketball gods existed, this would have been shot down.
But let's do this. All right, let's play it fair. Let's play devil's advocate for it. Mavericks fans kind of deserve this. Nico
Hell
Harrison.
no.
What do you
Oh,
mean?
I mean, okay.
What do you
I mean,
mean?
relax. Yes, they do. I mean,
they
deserve
definitely do,
something.
Kenny.
But
That's
also,
crazy.
like the best thing here at this point, if they're gonna give him the pick, fire Nico, let the fans enjoy themselves, get a new GM in there. Because Nico Harrison has already pissed me off to no end.
Well,
Agreed.
let me tell you another.
He doesn't deserve nice things, and somehow he gets this nice thing.
Well,
Yeah.
let me tell you another kick in the
Not
nuts
somehow.
about this whole
I'm
situation.
so bought into Adam Silver doing this for him.
So we are hyping or harping on the Dallas Mavericks and Cooper Flag situation. Do you know how bad it is that San Antonio got the second draft pick? Do you know why it's bad? Because do you know the biggest rumor out there in NBA basketball free agency is, or in trade talks? Giannis
to
to
the
San
Spurs-
Antonio. But
To
do
the
you
Spurs
know
or the Thunder
to the Spurs is what everybody's saying.
or the
And so-
Thunder?
Spurs
so
and
here's-
Rockets are the big ones.
And so here's the thing, because he wants to go to a state where there's no income tax. Shout out Texas, right? So here's the problem. San Antonio has talented roster. They could give away some of their roster, but they ain't got the assets to make up for the money. The money just does not make sense.
Now they
Oh,
do.
but wait a second. Here's a second round draft pick for you.
Their second
for your
overall
ass.
pick.
A second overall pick for your assets. And it's like now you're talking about, okay, that opens the door now for then San Antonio to go make a enticing deal to the Milwaukee Bucks for Giannis. So now you got Giannis and freaking Wemby with Stephon Castle and in the same division as Dallas with Cooper Flag. It's like,
and the Spurs also have the 14th overall pick, to be clear. What really does piss me off, though? The lottery's there so bad teams can potentially get at the top. They have a higher percentage to get a higher pick. Top 4 pick. The top 3 are Mavs, Spurs, Sixers. So you have AD and Kyrie. You have Wemby and De'Aaron Fox and Stephon Castle. And you have another team picking 3rd who has Joel Embiid, Paul George, Tyrese Maxey.
Good Lord.
It's like this is bullshit, dude.
Oh,
and then the Hornets, who were horrible, get the 4th pick. Can't imagine a worse thing. The Wizards, who have been miserable for years and have been trying to get a pick, they're 6th. They have a 6th pick in this draft.
So terrible.
The history of 6 picks is not great if you date it back 10 years. Just not very good. Like this is tough. And I heard. So the Bulls ended up getting the 12th pick instead of number 1 pick. They lost a freaking coin flip to decide who was going to have the extra ping pong balls, who was going to have the higher percentages, the Mavs or the Bulls. And the freaking Mavs won it and had higher percentages to ultimately get the number 1 overall pick.
It's a crazy system.
Here he is. Adam Silver took a grenade and went.
Okay, I want to ask both of you straight up.
All over the Memphis Grizzlies.
Just give me a yes or no. Do you think Adam Silver facilitated this?
Yes. 100%.
You say no, Christian? Okay.
Yes.
I'm in the middle. I've long thought that there are certain
draft lotteries that are rigged.
Rigged because it works out too perfectly.
I don't know. I could kind of be swayed either way on that. But then there's examples where you go, why?
And hell, LeBron was on the Pat McAfee show saying that he thinks it's rigged a couple of weeks ago.
Here's the thing: like, there's been a lot of players also that it hasn't panned out. They haven't went to, like Zion. I mean, Zion and Wemby are probably the 2 biggest prospects of the last 10 to 15 years. And Zion went to New Orleans.
Where was Zion supposed to go, though?
I don't know. I'm just saying, like, if you're saying that they facilitate it to get them to bigger markets and to make more money off those players. If everything was facilitated, Zion would not have been in New Orleans. He'd have been somewhere else.
I think some. There is no way. I do not believe in coincidences. I
don't believe in this many coincidences.
I just do not believe that Dallas can make the trade that they made, doing it the way that they did it by only talking to
and have a 1.8% chance.
One franchise, one GM, Rob Pelinka, his mentor, Nico Harrison's mentor, and say, hey, listen, we want to get Dalton, we want to get AD, we want to get Austin Reed, we want to get all these guys. And he's like, here's AD. Here's AD for your ass. And Max Christie. And like a 2nd-round draft pick, a protected 2nd-round draft pick for Luka Doncic. And that Adam Silver wasn't in the background going, we got you, bro. We'll take care of Dallas. We'll take care of you. Like, we're going to take care of you in the end. You'll get Cooper. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, a 1.8% chance that's a small chance. Can we be honest, Christian? That's a really, really small chance.
It is.
I will say this: if Adam Silver was in that room, and if it isn't rigged, he was probably like, "What the hell?"
Guys, that's a little less than a 1 in 50 chance, 1 in 50 opportunity.
Yeah,
and it happened on the 1.
He was probably like,
I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud here.
It's fishy. I mean, it's definitely fishy. There is no doubt about that.
She's a perfect word for it. It's super fishy. It's like the stanky
to high heaven.
Fishy. Yes, it ain't like goldfish stinky. It's like salmon stinky. Catfish.
Depends what type of salmon you get, man.
That's true.
Yeah. Okay, well, we're going to close it out on that note before that goes too much further. All right, everybody, we appreciate you guys for joining us.
Tuna stinky.
We appreciate you guys for joining us tonight. If you're watching on YouTube, you can like, subscribe, and comment there. If you're listening via podcast, whether that's Apple, Spotify, or any other platform, you can do all the same things there. Once again, we appreciate you guys for joining us, and we will see you back here next week.
Thank you for listening to On the Bluff. If you enjoyed this episode, leave a rating and a review wherever you download your podcasts. Also, like and subscribe to Bluff City Media's YouTube page. Head over to www.bluffcitymedia.co for comprehensive coverage of Memphis sports and how you can become an insider.